Antique transportation abounds at the East Broad Top Fall Spectacular, but across the street from the East Broad Top Railroad, you'll find another way folks got around in the old days. Trolleys. Trolleys from the group known as Railways to Yesterday. You can ride vintage trolleys restored by some of the 200 members of RTY. One of the members came from Atlanta, Georgia, just to run a trolley. Right now, the track goes a little over a mile, but you ain't never traveled a mile with this much fun. It's a great education for the youngins, too. The EBT turnaround goes right by the trolley station, so you might see a couple of narrow-gauge steam trains go by while you're waiting. In addition to operating the trolleys, restoration is an important part of RTY in these here car barns. Cal Gerhard, the chairman of the board, is with one of the current projects.
Okay, this is car number 163 from York, Pennsylvania. It was a Brill curve-side car. Only 5 of them were ever built. There are 3 still in existence that we know of, and this is the only one that has been restored to the condition you see it in, and it looks like it may be the only one that's ever restored. So next year, this will be the only Brill curve-side car operating anywhere in the world.
This is Louis Bueller, one of the founders of Railways to Yesterday. He's just one of the craftsmen that restore rolling stock. He's got his work cut out for him with this Johnstown trolley. During the Fall Spectacular, lots of different types of trolleys is running. Sam Kuhn gives a rundown.
We are using car number 315, which you're looking at, former Chicago, Aurora, and Elgin Railroad interurban car. Cars 311 from the former Johnstown Traction Company. Car 1875, which was built in St. Louis, Missouri, and used in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil for over 50 years, and also the only open trolley operating in Pennsylvania. Also, 2 of our work cars, car C64 from Oporto, Portugal, and Snow Sweeper 107 from the former Scranton Transit Company in Pennsylvania. Also, the Liberty Liner, which formerly ran on the Red Arrow lines between Philadelphia and Norristown, possibly will be running later in the afternoon here.
Steve Kissler, the operations manager, tells more detail about each trolley as the parade of trolleys begins. Now let's watch them do their stuff.
The trolley cars we have come from various parts of the country. We are all volunteers who do this kind of work. The blue and cream-colored car is car number 315. It comes from Chicago, Aurora, and Elgin Railroad in the Illinois area. It ran from Chicago out into the suburbs, especially to the cities of Aurora and Elgin. It is capable of doing 80 miles an hour, and it is made mostly of wood. And we have a crew of people who are working on restoring this car. Our green open car, very similar to the one that Mr. Rogers uses on his program, is an open car. It comes to us from Brazil. The car was built in 1912, and we believe it was partly assembled here in the United States before it was shipped to Brazil. And it ran in Brazil until the 1960s when we brought it back and restored it here at the Rock Hill Trolley Museum. orange snow sweeper was used years ago when we ran our winter spectaculars over Washington's birthday weekend. It has bamboo brooms at each end of the car that are used to rotate and actually sweep the snow off the track. Car number 311, number 311, is an orange car that came to us from Johnstown, Pennsylvania. This car was originally built in the 1920s. It ran in Bangor, Maine for several years. It has a little heater under each seat to keep the passengers warm in the wintertime since Maine is such a cold state. It was shipped to Pennsylvania and spent its working life in Johnstown, Pennsylvania. We brought it to the Rockville Trolley Museum in 1960, which was the same year that Johnstown shut down its trolley lines for the last time. That was the first car in our collection of almost 25 trolley cars. Car number 64 is a gray work car. It originally was used to haul coal and stone. It has sides which drop down to allow the stone or the coal to be shoveled off. We use it as a tool car. It carries all of the tools we use in doing our track work, and our volunteers will work off this car on work weekends throughout the entire year.
Cal Gerhard sums up the day's activities.
Well, it's a typical fall spectacular weekend. We get out as much as we can each time for the rail fans. The railroad across the street, of course, is running just about everything they can run. And it's a good opportunity to see everything in action.